have sex, because you will get pregnant and die. Don't have sex in a missionary position. Don't have sex standing up. Just don't do it. Promise? Okay, everybody take some rubbers.
Okay, a lot of you may have just found that pretty funny, but sadly, that's a pretty accurate portrayal of sexual education in America today. And I know for myself personally, that is pretty much a summary of my sexual education experience when I was in high school. In my audience analysis, 80% of you said that you'd be interested in learning about how censorship affects adolescents and their education today. 23% of you said that you believe that there is definitely a problem with censorship today. And 35% of you said you'd never really thought about it before. Only 2 out of the entire class said you believe that there are no issues with censorship at all in our schools. I believe that the area of sexual education in high school is the most affected by censorship. I've done a ton of research on websites such as the Department of Health Center of Disease Control, Guttmacher Institute webpage, the 2010 Journal of Adolescent Health, as well as the 2008 National Survey of Family Growth, and I did an interview with a registered nurse named Kirsten Nordgarten. Censorship on sexual education is harmful to its students and must be lessened in order to provide a solid education foundation for adolescents to be able to make safe, healthy, responsible, and informed decisions. Today I want to talk about what is wrong with sexual education, what needs to be done to fix its flaws, and the outcome if sexual education can be bettered overall. I'd like to start off by recognizing some of the main issues with sexual education today. So, let's talk about sex, baby. First of all, not everyone gets educated and not on everything. 46% of males and 33% of females said that they have had no formal instruction on contraception prior to the first time that they had sex. This is according to the Survey of National Growth. Only 39% of schools taught about condoms in sexual education courses. This is according to the Department of Health and Science. Only 18 states required that contraception be talked about in sexual education classes, and this is according to Guttmacher. Now, as we know, today is a very sexually explicit time period for our youth, especially as far as their ability to get sexually explicit materials. Here are a couple advertisements that are actually on billboards today, or were at some point within the last couple of years. They're constantly being bombarded with inaccurate portrayals of sex and sexuality in the media. So then, tell me this. Why on earth would it be a good idea to cripplingly censor the single source of formal and accurate information our children have today? According to Guttmacher Institute, 55% of 7th through 12th graders looked up health information online on issues that were either affecting themselves personally or affecting those around them. Here's another little fun fact for you. Of 177 sexual health websites examined by the Journal of Adolescent Health, 46% of them addressing contraception had inaccurate information. So your children are getting inaccurate contraception information off of line. One-fourth of adolescents aged 15 through 19 have received an abstinence-only education. This includes no instruction on birth control. I have a chart here that basically shows 1/4 of teens don't get information about birth control from either parents or in school. The top portion shows, this is male, this is female. The top portion shows kids who got their information formally and from parents. The next one down is from parents only. The next one down is from formal instruction only. And then the very last portion, this fourth here for both male and female, is those who have received absolutely no instruction whatsoever from anyone. Now, I agree that there's only one guarantee that you won't be having sex. Arguably. I'm just kidding. But seriously, Abstaining from sex and sexual activity is the only guarantee that you won't be getting pregnant, catching some sort of STD, HIV, or any other thing like that. Okay. However, according to Guttmacher Institute, research shows that abstinence only can actually deter contraceptive use among sexually active teenagers. This obviously makes them more susceptible to unintended pregnancies, HIV, and STDs. This is probably why the United States has the highest pregnancy rate among teenagers in the developed world today. That's more than twice of Sweden and Canada. I got this information from the Canadian Journal of Human Sexuality. Of all of our 50 states, only 13 require that sexual education's information be medically accurate. 13. A review, this is according to Guttmacher Institute, a review of 13 abstinence-only curricula by the Committee of Government Reform found that 11 had incorrect information. Now I'm going to talk about what limited info can do. By censoring and having limited information, you're leaving out the LGBT youth today. 9 states use a curricula that is LGBT inclusive for sex ed. 19 teach abstinence only until marriage. This is a problem, not only for the LGBT who are already having difficulties as it is gaining marriage equality, but even for people like myself. I personally don't ever plan on getting married. I have no interest in it. So when, then, is the okay for me to start being sexually active? Regardless of moral view, there are numerous sexual orientations and gender identities that exist among humans today. We need to prepare all youth to be happy with their sexuality, to make safe choices, and we need to learn to be at least tolerant of our peers that are in these minorities. Now that you've seen all the problems with sexual education in America today, I'd like to discuss with you some of my solutions. All right. First of all, we need to switch to comprehensive sexual education. This means that we still would support and advocate abstinence as the #1 priority, but they will also get information on AIDS, STDs, HIV, and comprehensive, meaning contraception. We need to broaden our sexual health education and make it LGBT inclusive. So basically, we need to talk about safe sex, abstinence, STDs, HIV, pregnancy, contraception, obviously, but we also need to talk about things like sexual identity, sexual orientation, self-image, dating, media, and the media's effect on sexual education. I suggest that we either, instead of making it a 1-semester class for all 4 years of high school, that we can make it a year-long class, or we can take it and have 2 semesters and spread it out so they do 1 semester of sex ed their freshman year, 1 semester of sex ed their sophomore year. And third, don't make sex so awkward. It's an embarrassing topic and it can be very sensitive, but don't be afraid to ask questions. Hopefully you would go to your physician, but you can do research online if necessary, but make sure that it's from a reliable source. Okay. Now take a moment to imagine if we were able to make all these changes to sexual education today. Picture a 15-year-old girl locked in her bathroom crying over a little pink plus sign that has just changed her life forever. And all because she didn't know all the reasons that condoms fail. Teens 15 through 19 who take comprehensive sex education are 50% less likely to experience pregnancy than in abstinence only, according to the National Survey of Family Growth. Picture the better self-worth and attitude of the LGBT youth after learning that there are numerous different sexual orientations and gender identities that exist and that they aren't alone. Information like this for our youth today can actually save lives. Lastly, picture a youth educated on sexual decision-making, communication, negotiation, and refusal skills. They would have a formal class on peer pressure, cultural pressure, and all the misleading information that the media provides. Censorship on sexual education is harmful to students and must be lessened in order to provide a solid education foundation for adolescents to make safe, healthy, responsible, and informed decisions. Today I've talked about what's wrong with sexual education today, what needs to be done to fix all of its flaws, and what the world would be like if we were able to better our sexual education. So now I'd just like to leave you with this quote by Maya Angelou. When you know better, you do better. Megan will be passing out little slips of paper that have the website called dosomething.org, which you just go onto that website and look up how to bring sex education to your local high school, and you guys should just go and check it out and see what you can find. Questions? Yes?
Did your mom do your sex education with you? Is that why this is such an easy topic for you to talk about?
No, actually, I went to Sandpoint High School, and we had a really sad excuse for a tiny sex education class. And no, it's just something that I've always been really comfortable with talking about. I actually considered being some sort of sex therapist at some point in my life, but I changed my mind, obviously. But yeah. So, any other questions? Yes.
Say abstinence is the only way to not get pregnant. But what about Mary?
Mary is the exception to the abstinence rule. Okay.